My name is Lily Thorne, and for most of my 35 years, I believed that beauty could soften even the hardest of hearts. I was a dreamer, a creator of delicate worlds built from petals and stems, a believer in the quiet language of flowers. My mother, Vivian, was a woman carved from granite and ambition, for whom love was a transaction and beauty was a currency. She built Vivian's Virtuoso Events from the ground up, a wedding planning empire known for its flawless, if cold, perfection. She was a general, and her events were her military campaigns, executed with precision and devoid of heart. I was a disappointment. Where she saw a client's color palette, I saw the emotion behind it. Where she demanded uniformity, I sought wild, organic variation. My sanctuary was not her sleek, chrome and glass office, but the back room I had claimed as my design studio, a chaotic, beautiful mess of drying flowers, bundles of twine, and the rich, earthy scent of moss and greenery. It was the one place her criticism couldn't fully penetrate, where I could create the kind of lush, romantic, untamed arrangements she derided as messy and unprofessional. The final fracture happened 6 months before her retirement. She called me into her office. "Lily, I'm selling the business. Vivian's Virtuoso Events is a brand I've spent decades building. It's worth a fortune. I've found a buyer, a corporate events conglomerate. They're offering a very attractive sum." My heart sank. Selling? But Mom, I've worked here for 10 years. I thought you were building this for me. She looked at me, her expression one of cool pity. "This business requires a spine of steel, darling. You have the hands of an artist, but the heart of a child. You'd run it into the ground within a year with your sentimental notions." She slid a check across her polished desk. "This is your severance. It's more than generous. Take it, open your little flower shop, and be happy." The injustice was a physical blow. For 10 years, I had been the one who stayed late, who soothed frantic brides, who designed the arrangements that were the only element of her events anyone ever truly remembered. I was the soul she was now selling off as a corporate asset. The check was large, but it was a payoff, not an inheritance. It was her way of finally, definitively, telling me I wasn't good enough, so I took her money. And with a fury I didn't know I possessed, I used it as a down payment on a small, dilapidated storefront in an up-and-coming neighborhood. I named it the Wild Heart Florist. It was my declaration of war, fought with peonies and ranunculus. I poured every ounce of my being into it. I specialized in the very thing my mother despised: locally sourced, seasonal, wildly romantic arrangements that told a story. I foraged for branches and berries. I built relationships with small-scale flower farmers. My business grew, not through aggressive marketing, but through word of mouth. My clients were artists, writers, and people who wanted their weddings and events to feel authentic, not manufactured. My sanctuary was no longer a back room. It was this entire shop with its peeling paint, its wide plank wooden floors, and the glorious, fragrant chaos that filled it. It was my daughter, Chloe's, future, a testament that softness could be a strength. My mother never set foot in it, but her shadow loomed large. She would send her friends to report on my progress. Their critiques, delivered with syrupy condescension, were always the same. "It's charming, Lily. So bohemian. But is it sustainable?" The pattern of a lifetime was repeating. My creations were charming, but her business was sustainable. My success was cute, but hers was serious. The foundation for the coming storm was laid when my mother, a year into her retirement, grew bored. The corporate buyers had rebranded her company, stripping it of her name and her signature style. She was irrelevant, and she hated it. She began to see the Wild Heart not as my little hobby, but as a competitor, a thriving, beloved competitor that embodied everything she had rejected. The sanctuary I had built was now a provocation. The invitation came via a terse email from my mother's lawyer. It requested my presence to discuss a business proposition. Dread coiled in my stomach, but a small, foolish part of me hoped she had finally seen my success and wanted to reconcile. I was wrong. She sat in the same chair in the same office, now stripped of her personal touches. "Lily," she began, without preamble, "your little flower shop has done surprisingly well. You've carved out a niche, but you've hit your ceiling. You're a craftsman, not a CEO. You lack the vision to scale." "Scale isn't my goal, Mother. My goal is to make a living doing what I love." "Love doesn't pay the bills," she snapped, her composure cracking. "I'm offering you a partnership. I'm launching a new venture, Vivian Curated, a high-end, subscription-based floral service. We'll use your design aesthetic, but my business acumen. You'll be the head designer, with a salary and a small equity share." It was the same offer, wrapped in new paper. She wanted to absorb me, to brand my messy aesthetic with her name, to put me back in the back room, this time as a paid employee in my own life's work. "That's not a partnership, Mother. That's a takeover. The Wild Heart is mine. The answer is no." Her face hardened into the granite mask I knew so well. "Then you leave me no choice." She slid a thick document across the desk. It was a cease-and-desist letter. "I am claiming trademark infringement on the name The Wild Heart," she said, her voice cold and flat. "It's dangerously close to the branding I used for my Untamed Elegance collection 5 years ago. Furthermore, your business model, focusing on local, seasonal florals, is a direct copy of a business plan I drafted and copyrighted before I retired. You've had access to my files for years. This is intellectual property theft." I stared at the document, the words blurring. She wasn't just trying to compete, she was trying to legally erase me. She had weaponized her own legacy against my existence. The Untamed Elegance collection had been a minor, failed side project of hers, a cynical attempt to cash in on a trend. And the business plan was a fiction, a lie constructed from whole cloth. "This is insane," I whispered, my voice trembling. "You're lying." "Prove it," she said, a cruel smile touching her lips. "I have the dated documents. I have the resources for a long, drawn-out legal battle. You have a flower shop." "How long can you last, Lily? How long before the legal fees and the stress force you to close your doors? Sign the partnership agreement and this all goes away. You can keep playing with your flowers, refuse, and I will bury you." This was the line in the sand. She wasn't just threatening my business. She was threatening to legally declare me a thief and a fraud, to destroy the reputation I had built with my own hands. The hurt was a searing, white-hot pain. But as I looked at her, sitting there in her calculated victory, the pain didn't break me. It forged me. The shift was silent and absolute. The dreamy florist was gone. In her place was a woman ready to dig in the dirt and fight for every single bloom. I stood up, leaving the document on the desk. "I will not sign," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "And I will not be buried. If you want a war, Mother, you'll have one. But I warn you, I've been growing my roots in this community for years, and they go deeper than you can possibly imagine." I turned and walked out, leaving her in her sterile office. I didn't go back to the shop. I went to the small community garden I helped maintain. I put my hands in the soil, the cool earth a grounding, real contrast to her poisonous fiction. Then I pulled out my phone. The time for arranging flowers was over. It was time to arrange a defense. My first call was to Anya Sharma, a former client who was now a fiercely loyal friend, and, fortuitously, a brilliant intellectual property lawyer. "Lily, breathe," she said after I recounted the nightmare, my words tumbling out in a panicked rush. "This is a classic intimidation tactic. She's using the threat of legal costs to force you into submission. But her case is a house of cards. We just need to blow it down." My second call was to Mr. Henderson, the elderly, kind-hearted owner of the local print shop who had been my first landlord and had become a grandfather figure to Chloe. "That woman," he grumbled, his voice full of fire. "I never liked her. Cold as a fish." "Don't you worry, Lily. The whole neighborhood is with you. We've seen you build this from nothing. We're your witnesses." The gathering of evidence was a mission of reclamation. We weren't just defending, we were proving my authenticity against her manufactured lies. Step 1, debunking the trademark, Anya dove into the USPTO database. Her Untamed Elegance trademark lapsed 3 years ago due to non-use, she reported, a note of triumph in her voice. She has no legal standing to claim infringement. Furthermore, the names and branding are visually and phonetically distinct. It's a frivolous claim, and we can sue her for filing it in bad faith. Step 2. Exposing the fictional business plan. This was the more insidious claim. My mother had backdated a generic business plan about local sourcing. Anya advised me to go through every single record I had. I found my original, handwritten business plan for the Wild Heart, scribbled in a notebook from 5 years ago, complete with sketches and supplier lists. I found emails from that same time period to local flower farmers inquiring about partnerships. I had dated photos of the empty storefront and my renovation process. My timeline was documented, authentic, and unassailable. Step 3. The Community Shield. Mr. Henderson and other local business owners started a "We Stand with the Wild Heart" campaign. They put signs in their windows. They organized a social media blitz, encouraging people to share their stories and photos from my shop. My customers, my real community, became a vocal army of support. The narrative was no longer about a legal dispute, but about a large, cold corporation, my mother, trying to crush a small, beloved local business. Step 4. The moral counterattack. Upon Anya's advice, I didn't just defend, I went on the offensive. I filed a countersuit for tortious interference, arguing that her false claims were deliberately designed to damage my business relationships, and for defamation due to the thief allegation. The legal fortification was a thing of beauty, more intricate than any bouquet I had ever designed. We had the law, the facts, and the heart of the community on our side. The shift within me was now complete. I was no longer just a florist. I was a strategist, a community organizer, a warrior. The anxiety was replaced by a fierce, protective energy. We were ready for the reckoning. The confrontation took place in a mediation room. My mother arrived with her high-priced lawyer, her expression one of bored confidence. Anya and I sat opposite them, a single slim folder on the table. Her lawyer began. My client is prepared to be lenient. She will drop her claims in exchange for a 49% stake in the Wild Heart and a public statement that the design philosophy was developed under her mentorship. Anya didn't even open the folder. Your client's claims are fraudulent, she stated calmly. The trademark is lapsed and invalid. The business plan is a demonstrably backdated forgery. We have a preponderance of evidence to prove it, including a dated, handwritten business plan from my client and a digital paper trail that completely dismantles your timeline. She slid a copy of my old notebook across the table. My mother's eyes flickered to the notebook, a crack in her composure. Furthermore, Anya continued, we have filed counterclaims for tortious interference and defamation. We also have sworn statements from over 200 customers and local business owners attesting to my client's integrity and the malicious nature of your client's actions. We are prepared to take this to a very public trial. The court of public opinion has already ruled, and it has ruled against Vivian Curated. This was the evidence cascade. Anya presented the USPTO records, the email chains with farmers, the photos of my shop's evolution. She played a local news clip about the community support for my store. This was the collapse. My mother's lawyer leaned over and began whispering to her frantically. I saw the color drain from her face. The reality of her situation was dawning on her. She wasn't just going to lose. She was going to be exposed as a liar and a bully in a very public, very humiliating way. The reputation she valued above all else was about to be shattered. We wished to settle, her lawyer said, his voice strained. The consequences were severe. The settlement agreement was a total victory for me. My mother was forced to permanently and publicly withdraw all claims against me and the Wild Heart. She signed a binding legal document stating that I was the sole and original creator of my business model and design philosophy. She was also required to pay all of my legal fees and a significant sum in damages for the business lost during the dispute. A permanent injunction was issued, barring her from ever making any claim against my business or publicly disparaging me. The repercussions were profound. Her plans for Vivian Curated were abandoned. The scandal, though contained by the settlement, leaked into her social circles. The woman who had built an empire on the illusion of flawless control was now known as the mother who tried to destroy her own daughter's dream. She became a pariah, isolated by her own toxicity. In the aftermath, the Wild Heart didn't just survive, it became an institution. The story of our fight, though I kept the details private, became a part of its legend. It was no longer just a flower shop, it was a symbol of resilience and authentic community. The first thing I did with the settlement money was to buy the building my shop was in, securing its future forever. I established a small grant for other local artists and makers, paying forward the support I had received. The shop is more beautiful and thriving than ever, but its true value isn't in its revenue. Its value is in the scent of damp earth and freesia that hits you when you walk in, the laughter of my employees, the pride in my daughter Chloe's eyes as she learns to arrange her first bouquets, and the deep, quiet knowledge that I defended this fragrant, vibrant sanctuary with every thorn and petal at my disposal. The lesson I learned was rooted deeper than any flower, that creation is an act of courage, and protection is an act of love. I learned that no is the most beautiful word in any language when it's spoken in defense of your own soul. My mother taught me that beauty could be weaponized, but I learned that it could also be a shield. My story is one of reclamation. I reclaimed my business, my voice, and my right to define beauty on my own terms. The greatest revenge was not my mother's social exile, but the profound, unshakable joy and purpose I cultivated from the seeds of her betrayal. If you believe in standing up for yourself, in protecting what you've built with your own hands and heart, no matter who you're standing up to, then you belong here with us. Make sure you like this story, subscribe to the Revenge Stories for more tales of justice, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that even the most delicate bloom can grow through concrete, and that the most beautiful arrangements are often those that have weathered the storm. For the most enduring gardens are not those kept in sterile greenhouses, but those grown in the wild, untamed heart, fortified by resilience and watered by the truth.